Hello there, Hazmy here everyone with an exciting video for today as there was a developer Q&A session for Babylon's Fall where they answered and reassured the community about certain topics and worries regarding the game. Now I know most of you don't have much time, so I tried to keep this video concise and to the point, but I think lots of the answers are positive and exciting to hear, so hope you will enjoy it. Here we go. I would like to start with probably the most important question, in my opinion, at least from what I've been seeing from you all, what your responses were to the beta test. A lot of people are not happy about the game not feeling like a Platinum Games video game. So the question is, I played in the beta tests, but did not really feel much of Platinum Games' design genius in it. I would like to know how much the full version has been improved since the beta tests. To which the answers were, as this is a hack and slash game where players will be repeatedly playing through content, the initial balancing was based on making it easy to pick up and play. However, we are certainly not looking at the action as an afterthought and have worked it to feel enjoyable for hardcore gamers as well. Try to find out. Also, there were some other things that we did not communicate too well, but the closed beta tests were actually intended to check the server environment and communications, rather than as an appraisal of the game itself. Accordingly, the version used did not contain all the game content, and this caused players some inconvenience, for example, not having any tutorials in yet. All the things that were left out from the beta will be in the full game, and we do want to show these off at some point before launch. So the answers are basically what I thought and what we've been talking about, that the beta tests were really about the network test because this is their first online game technically. Another important question is probably this one to start straight off. Will DLCs for the game be sold in the future? On the understanding that DLC here means additional content packs, there are currently no plans for anything like that at present. Having said that, we have already started work on lots of new content that will be added to the game after the service begins. We are planning to release several updates of an equivalent volume to traditional DLC packs throughout the year, so watch out for those. Which pretty much means that, as we know, every 2 to 3 months there will be seasons in the game, and each season is going to be this content update, or as you would like to call it, a DLC, except it's going to be free and it's going to be a free game update. You don't have to buy anything. They have also talked about crossplay, and quite happy about this. The question was, is it possible for players on PlayStation and Steam to play together? To which the answer was yes, you can play with other players across different platforms. It is not possible to carry over or share save data though between platforms, so keep that in mind. They said it's not that they didn't want to. Apparently there are some platform laws or content issues that they couldn't work around. It was just simply not possible for them to do it. One thing to mention here is that there will be regions like American, European, and Japanese servers. I don't know if there will be more, and you will be automatically assigned, unfortunately. So I don't really know how it's gonna be. I'm not a fan of this idea personally, because if you have friends from multiple regions, so does it mean if I have, let's say, Australian friends, they can't even choose to play with me? It's just straight up they're gonna be region locked? Or they have to maybe get a different account in a different register to a different region. So this one I personally don't like, but at least we do have crossplay. And now we can talk about the bulk of the questions, which is going to be multiple gameplay and design questions. With the first one being, how have the battles changed since the closed beta test? As an overall trend, we have generally lowered enemy health and increased the damage they do. We are aiming to have nicely paced battles that emphasize the effects of player actions. I personally like this because the closed beta seemed a little bit spongy, enemies had too much health, and they also designed the game to be relatively short and sweet, so to say, as in they want missions to be relatively short and enjoyable. So I do like the idea to take more damage, but like the fights to feel quick and powerful. So this is good. Next one is, will new weapon types be added to the game? As you all know, currently there are 5 weapons in the game, but the answer is yes, they will. You will be able to enjoy trying out new playstyles and combinations. In addition to the currently available swords and hammers, we do plan on adding new weapon types that fit in with the setting and feel of the game. They will be future additions, so not available from the release date though. Also, keep in mind that all of these will be free updates, so no one will have to purchase them. Can you change equipment while engaged in battle? No, you cannot change equipment during the battle. We deliberately did not allow players to do this, as stopping to change your gear would keep teammates waiting and slow down the tempo of the game. This one I'm particularly happy about, because I personally really dislike games where you can change your equipment in the battle. It forces, I think, a very unhealthy design and really boring and stressful game experience that you need to have everything for every situation on a mission and you're forced to change. So I'm just happy that they are locking this. So you have to prepare for mission before, and you have what you have. And speaking of builds, is there a feature to save your character build? Yes, you can save multiple builds. We want to see players trying out lots of different build variations. So they are talking about this quite a lot, that they want us to try out different builds. And it seems the whole system of the game is going to be around trying as many different styles as you can and have a really good selection of builds. There was also a question if there will be PvP modes added later into the game, to which the answer was there are no current plans to introduce PvP style modes to the game. So it's mostly going to be designed for PvE players and people who like a co op experience. Speaking of co op experience, will you be able to form groups along the lines of guilds or clans and do things like have your group icon next to your player name or the guild team name shown by the stage completion time or when beating a special boss? Sadly, the answer was we currently do not have any guild functions in the game. Part of the design philosophy is to make one off play sessions with people you have just met really enjoyable, and for this reason, we did not emphasize strong team coordination in the core design. We want to make it easy and fun to pick up and play the game in short chunks, although we have provided the option for private HQ camps for those players who want to form teams with just their close friends. I'm a little bit torn on this. I don't mind that they don't have guilds. They can always add it later, but I'm particularly unhappy that they say that for now their philosophy is that they didn't want any coordination, because in my opinion that would be probably the biggest strength of a game like this, to design battles that don't just feel like grinding or just hack and slash button smashing, but to actually think and keep you engaged, because after a while there's only so much you can do with doing damage and dodging. Now, even if maybe there's not going to be any super hard content in the game, we do know that the different races or factions will have different abilities, and it's going to be worth to have multiple characters. Now, I'm very happy about the answer here to the question of there seem to be differences in the abilities of different factions, and it is impossible to change your character's faction after creation. So, are there any features to make it easier if you want to make a second character to try out a different faction? Being able to share inventory with the first character or to skip straight to the endgame content after completing the main story. To which the answer is very good. Your progress through the game is shared between all characters on the same account, so you can continue from where you left off with a second or third character and even replay quests that you have already completed. Items in your possession are also shared between all characters, so you won't be wasting all the gear you have built up when you try out a new faction. This is amazing. You can also have 3 characters on an account, so you can have 1 character per faction. Pretty much means that you will be able to switch between factions, characters, and builds of your liking on the spot, which is amazing. Like, this is so good, because usually in games, best example is the recent Lost Ark. I hate it personally if a game is forcing you to grind multiple characters and just basically waste your time, because that's like the game to a degree and forces you to do that because it will benefit you. But at the same time, it just makes it a second job. So the fact that this is going to share progression is very good. It's very player friendly, in my opinion, very user friendly. It respects your time. So props that they added this one. And since we are going to be able to share equipment between our characters, the question might come up if it's possible to trade weapons or exchange equipment between players. But no, we have not put in any kind of trading feature, so the game will basically focus on your own efforts to gather loot. So all loot is going to be exclusive to you. Everyone will have their personal progression. And while there might be no guilds and clans in the game for now, I am extremely happy about this. The question was if there is going to be a level synchronization system like in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, for those who don't know Final Fantasy XIV or what level synchronization means, it is pretty much a scaling system. It means no matter how high level you are, for certain missions or certain dungeons, the game scales you down to the appropriate level. So let's say if a dungeon is level 5 and you're level 100, when you do that dungeon, you will be scaled down to level 5 and your equipment will be level 5 as well. So their official answer is there is a system that modifies player capabilities when playing together with others of a significantly higher or lower power level. This ensures that nobody finds the quest dull because they are too powerful or cannot contribute because they're too weak. There was another Final Fantasy XIV type of question, which is, I think, also something you will be all happy about. The question is if there's any system like the Glamour Prisms from Final Fantasy XIV. It is basically a cosmetic system if you don't know 14 again. Um, and the answer is yes. In addition to weapons and armor with different capabilities, there's also decorative equipment that you can wear. This is worn over the top of your usual gear to change its appearance. I've also seen a picture of this. I will talk about it in my equipment video. But yes, you can change the color of every piece of equipment on you for both the weapons and the armor. And for each armor slot, you will be able to wear a cosmetic item. I don't think they confirmed yet if it's going to be just special cosmetic items or you can wear any item you have unlocked. I do hope that it means if you wore an item, then that appearance is unlocked and you can just choose any item from your inventory to look like that. And it's not limited to special cosmetic items, but still I'm very happy that from the get-go there is a cosmetic system for the game. For those who are also worried about the main story or whether the game is fully released in its launch, they are here to reassure you the main story is complete and they have finished the voice recordings for all the stories scheduled in the first year after release. Additionally, there was a question if there is going to be an in-game achievement system, which is also really positive to me because there will be. And not only do they earn you bragging rights, but you will be able to receive special reward items to show off your prowess to the other players. These items will reflect the specific feats that the player has achieved, so completing ones that align closely with your playstyle will net you a reward that other players will see and recognize how you play. This is very good, I think, because if there's going to be challenges and milestones for players, I think it's another goal that we can all work towards if you like achievements and cosmetics and well, I guess bragging rights are there as well, but I think it's just a very good personal goal to set for yourself. So there's something to work towards and something to unlock. So I'm personally happy that there's going to be an achievement system like this, and hopefully it's going to be rewarding and satisfying to work for it. And the final question for this video, and one that makes me the most excited about this whole Q&A, I love this, is are there any more open style locations? Now, before I read this out, if you've seen footage of the game, you might have been somewhat disappointed or worried that most of the closed beta and developer footages were of the tower and going in very narrow corridors into big arenas, like square arenas, then back to corridors, and it just looked boring and looked almost like a gotcha game in the sense where you just progress through these corridors with your team and then mission over. Fortunately, I've personally also seen more developer footage where they were in multiple different looking locations that looked very good and they didn't seem like corridors. And their answer is also that we will be able to show you more very soon. We have mountain ranges, snowy mountains, and many other kinds of locations too, which I'm very happy about because overall the game might be linear, but linear systems can be very much hidden in a way that you don't notice it if the environmental design is pretty and enjoyable. Overall, I'm quite happy about a good chunk of what was said, especially about the environment differences and character progression and builds they mentioned, but lots of things I was worried about are now looking a lot better. And just like they said, I'm being more optimistic about how the game is going to feel. Their enthusiasm just really comes through a lot of the answers, and there's a lot more questions that were asked too. I will leave the link in the description. But in the end, it is their first online game too, and I can understand why they're being cautious and careful about it. But the game plan and everything they said so far looks really good and fair to me. In fact, they implemented lots of systems and mechanics and features that care about the player's time, respect your time, and they consider what's going to be fun for us. So I do appreciate it myself. But hope you enjoy the Q&A. And there's going to be another one next week, which I'm looking forward to, which is going to be also centered to the English community. So I'll probably make another video on that. But until then, everyone, enjoy, and I'll see you all next time.